Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with Crypto Mom 2, and I am super excited today to bring to you a protocol that is using NFTs in such a creative, inventive way. And from what I understand, this is the first interview of the creator of the Tag protocol, and I am super honored to have that privilege. I want to share a little bit more about me, and then I'm going to bounce it over to my two guests today to introduce themselves. And we're going to have a really fascinating conversation about the history of the Tag protocol and how you can become involved with it. For those that don't know about Crypto Mom 2, I am an entrepreneur in the blockchain space. And I recently got started last year in learning about cryptocurrency, even though I've been extremely interested in it for many years. And my background is that I'm an attorney, but I'm also a special educator, and I'm also a mom. So, again, my hands are in a lot of different areas, but what I love about this technology is the creativity and the fact that blockchain can solve problems and also support a community. So I was introduced to the Tag protocol just a short while ago. And in full transparency, I am part of the Tag protocol community, and I'm really excited. So when you go to the information block below and you see the link that will be there, that's my invitation link. So let us get started today. I have two gentlemen on from different parts of the world, and I am super excited again to introduce them. I'm going to actually have them introduce themselves because of the fact that they have such diverse backgrounds. I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. So welcome. How are both of you doing today?
Very good.
Great.
Yes.
All right. So who would like to introduce themselves first?
So maybe I start. My
Great.
name is Wojciech Guzda. I come from Poland, and I've been involved in Tag protocol since last maybe around 4 months. So I met Vishal, and then Vishal explained me about the hashtags, about turning hashtags to NFTs. And I was like, oh, hold on, explain me a little bit more. And then I really like this idea. And yes, and I believe Vishal should talk a little bit more about it. Yeah, and I'm in crypto space since 2015, and I really enjoy cryptocurrency. Yes, thank you.
So before we get over to explaining more about the Tag protocol, for those that don't understand what an NFT is, that's a non-fungible token, and it is able to be used in a variety of ways. You can do digital uploads, and again, I'm just learning about this as well, but it is fascinating. So Vishal, would you like to introduce yourself and also more about the Tag protocol and how it started to become created?
Hi, I'm Vishal, and so I've been involved with the Bitcoin space since 2012, and got introduced to Bitcoin because of a friend of mine in America, who just keep going on and on about Bitcoins on its Facebook profile. It just got my fancy. But other than that, I've been in technology since 1999, and I'm building and working with tech for a very long time. So I think once I discovered Bitcoin through my friend, and coming from my technology background, it was just a natural progression for me to get more involved with Bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, or blockchain. But I think the primary fascination was the blockchain. Just trying to understand what the technology is, how it works, what it stands for, and from there, it grew up to other things. So that's been a progression for me. So Tag protocol, it's an idea that's been sitting with me since 2013. In the sense that once I discovered blockchain and the abilities, and that we look at virtual currencies and other things, there was always one question in my mind, that how can you create virtual real estate? Because Bitcoin was something which is similar to currency or gold, but I wanted to understand what if I want. If I'm working with the internet, what is truly the real estate of the internet? And I think back in then, you had Google's, which used to run these ad campaigns, and people would, bid on these keywords. And I thought, there is something there, right? I mean, words are very important commodity to the functioning of the internet. And so I was working on different ways and means and how you can monetize these words, how people can create ownership with these words, and how we can build an economic system around these words. So, I mean, that was the genesis of the idea. And I've worked on multiple ideas around words in different iterations and experiments. And finally, I think come 2019, in 2015 Ethereum was launched. So that suddenly created more possibilities in terms of smart contracts. And after 2019, last crash happened in 2017. And post 2019, with the DeFi ecosystem coming in, suddenly I realized, all the missing pieces in my mind in terms of how we could work with, words and hashtags just coming together. So I mean, so the idea has been building over years with, but it's a technology and the evolution that's allowing for a lot of things to happen now.
So I'm going to be showing the tag protocol face page in a quick second, but explain more about what tag is. And it's using hashtags off of Twitter. So why did you choose Twitter as the platform, or the thought that that would be where you would want to search?
So I mean, we could have gotten started with Facebook, Instagram, anything. So you needed to start somewhere. So I think I personally prefer the Twitter API, and it was more broadcast driven. So just in terms of development convenience, I thought Twitter was better and more global in the sense, because with Instagram and Facebook, you still have a lot of regional biases. Twitter is just one of those platforms, which is probably not top of the chart, but it's global in nature, that wherever it does have presence, it has a more and plus the tech stack that Twitter operates with, I prefer that to Instagram. It's not like we cannot do Instagram and Facebook. I mean, we needed to start somewhere, and this is where we start. I cannot hear you. I'm unable to hear you.
Yes, no, I understand. I'm muted. Thank you. So I have the tag protocol page up, and as it says, for those that are on the podcast who might not be visually seeing this, it says the world's first performance-based NFT. You can collect, trade, stake hashtags, earn tag coins based on the Twitter performance. So again, for those that are not seeing this, on it, it says it was built on Binance. And then it talks about what it was written in, price oracle, the data repository, the rewards based on, and the tracking. Why did you decide to build it on Binance?
Well, the primary reason being the cost, right? The Ethereum blockchain, the transaction cost is just way too high, and it's a very crowded blockchain. So Binance turned into a natural progression because the cost of transaction is under $1, and you can get more and more people to participate. And I mean, if you try to build something like tag protocol or the hashtag registry on the Ethereum blockchain, the registry part would be great, but the economic model that I envisioned building around the product, it would just make it very expensive. I mean, it was just cost efficiency. I mean, in terms of technology stack, it's pretty much the same.
So with now when I launch the app, I'll do that in a second. It also talks about a light paper. And for those that might not know about coins, a lot of times coins have a white paper. So I'm new to this. Why is this called a light paper instead of a white paper?
So light paper essentially entails with some, a document that gives you brief information about the project. And the reason we haven't released a white paper is because I strongly believe that, white paper is an abused term in the cryptocurrency industry. I mean, what Satoshi Nakamoto made was a white paper. It was based on some research. But even the project presentations these days are presented as white paper, which is kind of whimsical in my opinion. So I mean, I don't want to fool people. It is what it is, and a white paper would make more sense maybe 6 months or a year down the line when you've done enough research and you can put enough material that people could learn from.
So thank you for sharing that. So I see that there is a countdown, 50 days, and it's counting down. and it talks about the next release of the hashtag staking pool. What's going on with the countdown? I know that there's something special happening in the July time period, but why don't you share more?
So effectively, we have begun the process of, where we're allowing people to register hashtags for the first 90 days. And then once after 50 days, people will be able to earn tag coins based on their Twitter performance. So at this very moment in time, people are able to pre-register their hashtags, and the pre-registry as good as the final registry, because the registry contract does not change. But we'll be launching the staking contracts and the trading contracts subsequently. So then after 50 days, the first objective of the project is to launch our staking contract. From there, another 30 days from there, we launch our exchange. Another 30 days from there, we launch our auction contract.
Awesome. Let me go over to the hashtag search. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to put, I'm going to put a word in, let's say I'll put the word country in, and this is how someone might search for various words for obtaining their hashtag. So I see recently registered. So these are all the obviously, and it keeps going. There's over 109 pages of tags that are registered. How many tags are there, or hashtags are there on Twitter? I mean, do we have a number?
I mean, the number literally runs into hundreds of millions, because I mean, there is no limitation, but you can create a hashtag right now, right? We could just create one right now with, we can just say XYZ252535, and that would be a hashtag. Twitter really doesn't have limitations. And plus, I think there isn't even a meaning connotation, because even if you look down, right, PS4 Live, it makes sense, but a VTuber, these are all these, links that people come up with on the internet, and that get transformed into words and meaning that people understand.
So I just put the word country in, and so this is how I search for mine, and it says that it is available, so you can get it now. It also said the all-time popularity score is 88.9, but then underneath it says popular variant, so it will show different ways that people have spelt the word country and the popularity with that. So when someone's deciding on how to choose their hashtags, what should we be looking for?
I mean, typically you're looking for hashtag with high popularity score, and once you identify the popularity, you're then looking for what particular variant that people use the most. You ideally looking to buy, in this situation, let's say you want to buy country in all of small caps. So, that would be more. So, I mean, in terms of choosing what popular variant you're looking at the percentages in terms of, how people apply a particular hashtag. And in terms of popularity, the higher the score, the better the odds that you have in terms of earning more tag points.
So is there a certain number that you should be reaching? Like, should it be over 70, or is there a certain one that you suggest?
Well, it's relative, right? So in a sense that for sake of argument, if we only sold top 100 Twitter hashtags, then we're ranking hashtags from 1 to 100. So even if you had the top 100, even the 100 would still be the least.
All right, so I'm going to click on get it now and see what happens. All right, so now I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I don't want to have my wallet there. Hold on 1 second. I will go back to the tag protocol, but basically it pulls up a variety of wallets, and actually it's all good. It's not showing anything. See, I'm new to this. That's why.
You better be safe. I mean, you have to be careful.
Yes, you do. All right, let me go back over to the main tag screen. So with going over to the main tag screen, here we go. I will share again, back again. All right, so we looked at how you search for hashtags, and then just like I'm gonna launch the app, and I'm still going back to the wallet. All right, that's because I'm a member of the tag protocol. But within that, the first thing is well, actually, that is a really basic question for someone, especially as new, because I know that I struggled, but not because of the tag protocol. I struggled because I had to figure out all this. So I went to Binance, And then I went to Binance Chain. I'm trying to remember the way that I did this. And then I went to Binance Smart Chain. And then I connected the Binance Smart Chain wallet over to the tag protocol. So those were different steps. And then once I searched my hashtag, I selected that. And then I was able to obtain it. And then it went into the part of the protocol that showed me what my hashtags were. So I know there's various parts of this. I own the hashtag, but then the other part is I can introduce this to other people, and then and sharing this with other people, there's a whole nother aspect. Now, I will just put out a disclaimer here. Everyone has to do their own research. This is not financial advice. So there's always risk with everything. But if you do want to become part of hashtag, and if you do want to share this out, there are ways that you can also earn from this as well. So do you want to explain a little bit more about that part?
So, I mean, the idea behind creating an invitation program was simply, incentivizing and, growing the community organically. So you have to understand there is no inherent real cost to, selling a hashtag per se. It's really the technology and the work that we put in terms of, creating the structure and everything, because we realize the cost is marginal. And we wanted to build a larger community, because for any crypto project, that comes into existence, community building is the key aspect. And from our perspective, the reason we built the invitation program is to incentivize our existing users, and for them to have some part of, give them some motivation and, incentive to be able to share the idea with other people. And, people maybe spend some time explaining to people, because the real challenge right now is this, where we started off. What we have built is a decentralized application, not an application. And to access a decentralized application, you need a dApp browser. In the market right now, the leading dApp ecosystems are like the MetaMask, the Trust Wallet, the Token Pocket, and they all seem to have different features. And there is no market standardization in terms of process. So if you're using a MetaMask, you're going to have to follow a certain set of rules. In this case, it entails that you're going to have to import the Binance chain, the RPC manually imported into your, MetaMask wallet, and then you will be able to access, dApps which are, hosted with the Binance chain. With Trust Wallet, it's a much simpler process, because Trust Wallet is owned by the Binance company, and which also has, created the Binance chain. So they've done the integration for you, and so is with Token Pocket and Safe Balance, some of the other these dApp wallet come browsers. So what users really need to understand is that this whole process of understanding what a dApp is slightly more complex. And I believe that, by providing that incentive for people to invite other people and put in the effort, so I think of it as a compensation for people to put in that work. So, because if you want to build the decentralized community, and, particularly with DeFi and other kind of protocols coming into the ecosystem, the training and education, it's not very difficult really, but I think people just need that confidence and hand-holding right up front. And I think once people do understand how it works, it becomes easier. But, the invitation program really is just an incentive that we've created, so that, people have the motivation, to go out there and educate other people in terms of how a dApp works.
I love the idea of an invitation program, especially because so often we refer or tell our friends about, a product or a service or something like that. So, when we're having conversations with people and we're saying, look, this is, something that's new, and some people check it out. So I like the idea that everyone's interconnected in the invitation program. I think that it's a win-win for everyone, especially because as you invite, others, it also allows you to be able to get more tags as well. So, there's ways that you can, with the funds that you earn from it, from the invite, you can actually kind of get another tag that might be, of interest to you.
So from our perspective, right, so it's not important how much money we raise by selling hashtags, because the project, of course, has certain costs attached to it. So you work with the, but I mean, I'm personally working with a lot of developers. The salaries need to be paid out. We're running a lot of server infrastructure, and all of those costs have to be handled. And as the system expands, the phase one is where the expenses are much greater, because the cost of running this will come onto the the creator of the ecosystem. Now, gradually, 6 or 8 months down the line, as we expand on the user base, there are enough incentives available to allow other participants provide that capacity to the system and decentralize it completely. So our objective being that the money that we're able to raise through the sales of hashtag, so we have a certain number in mind. We say if we raise X amount of capital, we can take care of salaries and infrastructure costs. And as we move forward, with the tag coin incentive coming into picture, then we can motivate our existing community members to take up that job, some of the owners. And eventual goal is 8-9 months down the line to completely decentralize the structure, put in the governance contracts and just completely automate the entire decision making process of tag protocol, so there is no interference. And even me as a creator cannot have any I mean, I don't have any decision making powers. The ultimate goal is to give the entire business to the community, and it should be able to be run by the community.
I love it. I really do. I mean, I see different ways that this can be used to support both charities and other organizations. So I think that there's a really broad vision for this, and I also like the fact that you explain the business side. Because a lot of you were talking about, the background of trust and, the connection to Binance. And a lot of times when we go onto the internet and we get connected to a company, we don't always think about the business side and the cost involved with launching something that is very creative, and I also appreciate your coming on and being, really open to the interview and the talk, because that also shows that you're approachable. And many, again, with many companies, a lot of times you're not able to actually reach out and talk directly to someone. And I think that this is very exciting, because people can see that what your vision is with the tag protocol. And
So apart from it, so let's just get one thing very clear. I mean, there are a lot of scams and stupid investment schemes that do operate in crypto sphere. So I always have a saying, the fundamental difference between fraud and failure is only the intent. So I mean, as long as the intent is clear and somebody's trying something, so we're trying to build a protocol. And like I said, my motivations are technology driven. I'm not really, quintessential marketeer. I mean, but I understand the marketing is the critical aspect of any project, because we're going to gather community. People need to be educated, and you got to put product out there. And so, from my perspective, I mean, I do understand there's a lot of things that do happen in the market, and there are a lot of these bad operators who are peddling all kind of financial schemes, and there are a lot of these projects who just come up with contracts, and bunch people deposit a bunch of money and just evaporate in thin air overnight. But I think for me, the motivation really after 8-9 years is because the original idea that I began with, that we need to start decentralizing things on the internet. And what I mean, for me, the term decentralization doesn't mean nobody has control. What it fundamentally entails is transparency. So what is the outcome of that decentralization is that you have transparency in terms of decision making and data. So because as an individual, I need to be able to make an informed choice about things, and that is what is more important. Whether I profit from something or make a loss, that is a secondary premise as far as I'm concerned. But it's only fair that people have the right information to begin with, and they can make a choice based on the information they have. And so the reason I've started liking blockchain right up front is because it's making data public, and that's presenting transparency. Because I think we're used to too used to opaque systems where the information is not forthcoming. And from my perspective as a creator of a project, if somebody has a question, I need to answer that question. Of course, I can't answer all questions all the time. But I think every time I find an opportunity where I can communicate with somebody, it's very nice to hear questions, and I'm just tell people what you're really trying to achieve.
No, I agree with you, and I appreciate your sharing that. I really do. We're going to be having more conversations, I'm sure, over time. Is there anything else that you would like to let everyone know about the tag protocol? I know that you're planning different events coming up, and those are to bring the community together. But is there anything else that you would like to share, either one of you?
So I think first I need to brief, let's just summarize the tag protocol project. So
Yeah.
effectively what we've done is created a hashtag registry where any individual can come and register a hashtag, and the process is just like registering a domain name. And once you have, acquired this hashtag, it is being delivered to you in form of an NFT token. An NFT token is nothing but simply a non-fungible token. It's simply an accounting concept. So when it comes to securitization or tokenization of anything or any product, service, or any of these things, as a developer, what I'm looking at is, like a television cannot be divided into pieces. The ownership of television in pieces wouldn't make sense, or ownership of a car in pieces wouldn't make sense. So if I need to tokenize a car, I would simply issue an NFT token. So NFT is nothing but a mere accounting concept where you're simply deciding whether the value is divisible or non-divisible. But the value attached to the NFT is really dependent on the product that it represents. In our case, what our NFTs represent are the hashtags and the income that you could potentially earn from the hashtag in form of tag coins every hour based on the Twitter performance. So as a user, the process is simple. You come, you register your hashtag, the NFT token, which represents the hashtag, gets delivered to your wallet. Then you can further stake these hashtags into our staking pool, and based on a preset calculation, you start earning tag coins, which is similar to mining bitcoins in a sense. So effectively what we've done is we've taken hashtags and convert them to NFT. We've converted NFT into a tag coin miner, and then you're earning tag coins based on Twitter performance every hour. And then you could trade these tag coins or choose to store them, with friends and, on the open market if you wish to. So that's simply in a nutshell what the project is in simplification. But in terms of the staking argument, we could be building lending, protocols on top of hashtags. We could be doing the auction. People could trade the hashtags themselves based on performance. So for example, there could be two hashtags, like one could be Bitcoin, another could be Ethereum. Bitcoin is probably doing 5 tag coins a year, and Ethereum is doing 3 tag coins a year. That creates a differentiation in terms of value. So another set of challenge that we really wanted to address with the project is the current NFT market is completely based on assumption. So, when people are buying these NFTs for $5,000, $200, or $10,000, the problem is you really don't have any basis to evaluate the value of these NFT tokens, because somebody's has created an art. You've bought a piece of art, but you really don't know how to evaluate the value. But even in our situation, you don't know a precise value of hashtag, but because there is a yearly performance attached to a hashtag, that at least gives you indicative yearly earning that a hashtag could potentially do, that at least gives you some basis to evaluate the value of a hashtag, which is not a defined value, but at least it's an indicative value. And using that indicative value, we could build lending platforms where people could lend money to each other and use the hashtag as a collateral itself. And on top of that, we're doing the decentralized auction platform where you can come, deposit your hashtag, put up a price, and other people can see all the listed hashtags and they can bid and buy and ask. Just create a robust ecosystem where people can create wealth from hashtags, trade hashtags, and grow the community. So it's gamification of hashtags, in a nutshell.
I love that nutshell. You made it so clear, and you covered all the areas, and it was a wonderful summary. It definitely was. Anything else that either of you would like to share before we sign off? I'm so honored to have both of you on.
So okay, maybe a little bit me. So for example, how I see hashtags. So basically, hashtags is like social media digital asset. Yeah. So I look at the hashtags as a miners, because right now, if we're talking about the Bitcoin miner, I've been involved in Bitcoin mining since last 4 years. And I know how hard is doing mining. So, you know, the technology is a well away. So you need to always upgrade your machines and stuff like that. Then another problem of mining is electricity and stuff like that. And like, okay, we're talking that everything is decentralized. Of course, it's decentralized, but not many people have access to actually do this mining. So for me, like I really like the concept of tag protocol, because I look at the hashtags as a digital asset that simply generate the yield. And of course, if you look closer to tokenomic, when we have deflation distribution system, I strongly believe that can bring value to all of the people. And yes, and basically I can generate perpetual income based on hashtag Twitter performance, which is something amazing, and I'm very, very happy with Tag Protocol. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of potential and a lot of creativity around the Tag Protocol. Thank you, both of you, for being here today. For those that are interested in the Tag Protocol, definitely check out the block below of the talk show and the YouTube, and reach out if you have any questions. My email, if you need to reach me directly, is jcoopertravels@gmail.com. Also, there'll be contact information in the block below. And I am excited to be, you know, obtaining more of my own hashtags. I think that I love exploring, you know, all the things that you've created. And I know we'll talk again soon. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, and it was really nice having this conversation with you.
Thank you so much.